This top 10 fantasy football tight ends edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new pick 8. Sign up with SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner on picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Tight end, Sean.
Tight ends. You're glad to see you're wearing a official, authentic New York Giants jersey.
I don't know if this is
after the bit of a debacle. I think now the clip's just about to go out.
What do you mean debacle?
Well, you wore a unlicensed blue jersey with Tommy DeVito's autograph. The autograph was authentic. The jersey was not a Giants jersey, right?
I mean, you want to talk about a sleazy fucking business. I almost feel like a 10-part, maybe a little podcast mini series on. Yeah, I mean, I since have gone all over. First of all, someone tried to shame me on the internet. Hey dummy, you got to look for the sticker. Sends me a link to eBay where I can buy the same fucking jersey that I bought. They show the back where you see the nice DeVito stitched.
Yep.
And you see this nice stitch number. And as someone who has shopped for jerseys before, this is actually a great tactic because you can tell when the numbers are real.
Yeah.
You can tell a good jersey by how the stitching looks. And that's what they showed me. So of course my intelligent, sophisticated NFL brain was like, oh, this is nice stitching. Little did I know it's not even a Giants jersey. So yeah, here's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
One, I think Tommy DeVito's following is small enough to where we can just go after him directly.
I think if we reach out to Tommy DeVito and say, Tommy, can you come on the show, make things right to your fellow Paisan Kramer centric? I think if people tagged Tommy DeVito or responded to the clip saying, Tommy, talk to them on the show, we might get Tommy DeVito on the show. My
mom's maiden name is Ricciuti. All right.
Okay.
I'm Italian.
Yeah.
You can't be doing this to your people.
Yeah. What now now Tommy DeVito obviously knew he was signing an unauthentic New York Giants jersey.
Well, three things could have happened. One, he was completely aware and knowingly signed a shitload of not Giants jerseys where they never actually say it's a Giants jersey. It says authentic jersey signed by Tommy DeVito. And it happens.
It was a real jersey. I will say that. And it happens
to list him as a member of the New York Giants. So maybe I connected dots. So he either fully complicit, understood what was going on. Two, he wasn't fully complicit because he's really fucking dumb. Or three, he got hounded by some guy who had a duffel bag of these jerseys, signed them, didn't think much about it.
Oh no, he was in on it.
That's my thought too. But Sean,
I mean, for a guy who was haggling on how much you could get for a pizza pie opening, this guy, he wanted to looking to make some coin.
It was a no lose situation. No one's gonna get hurt.
Victimless crime. Fell off a truck.
So I still debating if I want to, because I would hate to become a distraction for the season.
Oh, okay.
But I also feel like there was injustice done. And
justice for Kramer.
I'm sitting here. I'm considering draft day may become just a
justice for Kramer,
just to bring awareness.
Oh, okay.
To the situation and bring justice for Kramer.
I think.
Will you pledge justice for Kramer?
Will you take a stand? Yeah, I think a real New York Giants autographed jersey and a plate of cutlets. We can make this right. I can
make my own fucking cutlet.
Wow, you don't want an authentic Tommy DeVito cutlet?
No,
what if the cutlet was made in the Philippines? Would you still
Well, it's I don't.
Maybe they make great cutlets over there. I've never had any food.
Well, it's probably not made out of chicken. I'll say that. Might be.
Different kind of animal. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. We heard it once on the Stern Show. Kadogi.
Kadogi.
What they call it. Yeah, no, I would say that I can make a better cutlet
than Tommy DeVito.
100%.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of Tommy DeVito.
I have a mother that's 100% Italian, and one of the few things I picked up is how to make fucking nice chicken parm.
What is Tommy DeVito's 100% Italian?
You've eaten my chicken parm.
It's good.
I'll put it up against Tommy DeVito's.
Yeah, I would take you over Tommy DeVito.
I'll get some good bread. Throw some gravy over that bad boy.
Getting hungry.
For the meat eaters, maybe I'll even slide in some sausage.
Ryan, congratulations.
Yes.
Happy 2000th show. What did you get me to celebrate the 2000th show?
What did I get you?
Yeah.
Is this the gold or diamond episode?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have any anniversary things, but
we put out way more than 2000 episodes, and I was trying to figure that out. There were a number of other shows that we at one time put out on our show, but the 2000. That's a lot. How many podcasts have 2000 episodes? This is like the Simpsons game where you eventually just start outlasting everyone.
Yes. Outlasting the competition.
I'm serious. How many shows have 2000 episodes? Does Rogan have 2000 episodes yet?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll Google Joe
Rogan. If we do it by podcast hours,
Joe Rogan is on 2,166,
and his episodes are like 3 hours each. So respect.
Yeah. Hats off to you, Joe Rogan. We're nipping at your heels, subscriber wise. We're coming for you. But in celebrating, Ryan, we like to give away stuff to the listeners. We like to hook them up. We will give you 2,000 of a yet to be determined cryptocurrency, probably somewhere around the 9 to 10 cent range. So you get a nice $200 prize.
Oh.
And what you have to do is you have to email in podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com your favorite memory of the 2000 episodes. So I think we'll get a little bang out of this. Send in your entries, favorite episode from the 2000 episodes we've put out, and you will win 2,000, not $2,000, 2,000 of maybe it's Dogecoin, maybe it's crypto.com's coin, something in the 10 centish range to hook you up. So you probably have to know a little about crypto, but if you're listening to the show,
Degens Only,
you could be a true Degens Only and get into some crypto there. Shout out to Dogecoin, helped us build this studio. Feels very fitting to give back to the dog cryptocurrency economy. So 2,000 of some sort of cryptocurrency coming back to you.
I saw 2 Dogecoin dogs at the beach this past weekend. It did seem like a sign. And
who knows? Doge could go on a run, right?
It gets better because I kid you not.
Much like Kyle Pitts, it's due.
One of them had a Crown chew toy in their mouth. You know what? I'll throw something in, Sean. I'll throw in a digital pony.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, if it's a crypto head, they might be interested.
Okay.
Digital pony on top of some Dogecoin.
Digital pony, some Dogecoin
from SGPN Stables.
From SGPN Stables, we will hook you up. So email it in, podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com.
I was just laughing because I was going to bring in a prop for Father's Day. One of my cards is an SGPN Stables painting that my youngest daughter made. Definitely not becoming an addiction. I mean, I have enough horses where I'm willing to give one away now.
Wow, that's how quick. I mean, he's Bob Baffert mixed with Paul Newman. I don't know who's
Paul Newman. He makes a good gravy. You want to talk about?
Oh, Paul Newman, Ryan, all timer.
He did a lot of cool things. You want to talk about an all time dude? No, forget charity work. Just doing stuff in life.
Yeah. Real Renaissance man. All right, we got a couple things we're going to get to before we start the count up, aka not a countdown. We have a new segment on the show. It's called This Week in Baseball, where we highlight some of our favorite moments in baseball. This moment is a viral video that just resurfaced of a guy trying. It's on a QVC type situation, selling some baseball cards. So this is This Week in Baseball. courtesy of this crazy guy. YouTube.com/sportsgamepodcast.
You buy this for $39.99. Guess what, folks? You take the L away. You put a W there, baby. You're a winner, man. You're the real deal. You're picking up chicks. Let me tell you something. You buy this set at $39.99, baby. You're the cock of the walk, man. You walk into the bar and you just find the hottest chick and you go, you, me. Guess what? She says, why would I go out with you? Because I bought the deal on Wild West Deals for $39.99. That's why. She says, can I go home with you? That's how simple it is. That's how it works. That's what this set brings to the table. Because you know what she sees? She sees a man who knows what he wants. She sees a man who says, good deals don't get by me, baby. I move. I act. I act quick. I act now.
Oh man, we need to. I'm gonna try and track this guy down, Ryan, to see if he can cut some promos for our show. I mean, I'm ready to buy that $39.99 baseball card package. Yeah, so we'll try and track this gentleman down.
I want him. I want a video of him selling our Patreon.
Oh come on, are you kidding me?
Speaking of tight ends.
All right. Do we want to get into the tight ends? We also have a real quick viral video of everyone was tagging us in this. A guy
it's so nice
decided to throw a tantrum on the craps table, which I'll be honest, I was watching this video and part of me was just like, man, cannot wait to get out to Vegas, to Circa. We will be out there early July doing some shows out there. And they're just like the pit bosses are just pushing this guy around. He's a tiny man.
Yeah, if you're listening, he's laying on the table. Is it like he looks like a child at the grocery store that is kicking his feet and knocking all the candy off the rack? There's chips everywhere. There's multiple angles. The one we have, you don't quite see it, but like at one point he stands up and just throws chips in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of thing you gotta.
It was way hotter when the chick did it in Casino. This guy's just a little man throwing a tantrum. Brian, it reminded me of years ago at MGM. This was like a Sunday morning, I think, or a Saturday morning.
Oh, I know exactly where you're about.
We were going to like get breakfast or something. And this guy
was at MGM. Yeah,
it was at MGM because I remember like the lion pits were in the background. Dude climbed up on top of a row of slot machines. They were like giving away a car, and he was kind of maybe he got in the car and he was like going around up on top of the slot machines. I do remember the security guy just grabbing his arm and the yank that he pulled down. It was almost like a slot jockey pulling a lever.
That was before guys were worried about getting sued personally.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is like everyone recording on their cell phone, and I was just sitting there like, wow, that guy's gonna get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he did.
Yeah, it's one of those things like Vegas, they let you do everything except for touching the stuff where people gamble. You can't that's where you just got to act. Like, you know what? Every time I see a guy like the pit boss comes over, we're at a craps table. It's someone that's usually doing some sort of asshole behavior. And he gets told, hey, tone down your asshole behavior. And then he starts a fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you think this is going to go, buddy?
Yeah. Do you think
you go get Tommy? I'm not doing anything. What do you think Tommy's going to tell you to do? Like, fuck off. We're trying to gamble. You're fucking up the mojo.
Yeah.
Here.
Also, there's two levels of security. There's the security you see.
Yeah.
And those guys they're like half security, half customer service.
They chaperone you to the back.
And then there's the security you don't see. You don't want to see the security you don't see.
No.
There's a reason they have another level of security you don't see. Security you do see, usually going to be kind, nice, like, hey, where's this? Where's that? Whatever. They're walking around, keeping an eye on things. But the security you don't see, that's who you got to worry about.
Well, yeah, it's you don't ever want to be in the part of the casino that doesn't have the cameras.
Ryan,
yes.
Have you signed up with GameTime.co? If not, what are you waiting for? Download that Game Time app. I was just looking at Ryan. You mentioned you were going to a Dodgers game.
Just spent a lot of money on Game Time.
4th of July. Yeah, a lot of money. Could have been more if you're using some other ticket broker, Ryan, because Game Time is your go-to app for last-minute tickets. Kramer's just saying, hey, he's going to Dodger Stadium 4th of July. Get the nice fireworks show. Perfect time, summer. Go out, see a game. Also good for concerts. I'm going to try and catch Dead and Company over at the Las Vegas Sphere. They have a bunch of
my
good
nephew
seats.
just went.
Yeah, bunch. I'll see.
He's 11, 12, 12. Yeah, 12.
Yeah, that's old enough. GameTime.co. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you $20 off. Game Time, your go-to app for last-minute tickets. Kramer, let's talk some tight ends. Or do we want to do a quick review of last year's tight ends?
We can do that, I guess.
Okay, and kind of compare how he did.
It's not that interesting, actually, but if you want to talk about it.
Okay. We both had Travis Kelce, number 1. Somewhat. Now, are we going? Do we go total or do you go average? What do you? I think
total.
You go total.
Total.
Okay, total points.
Total, and we agreed half point PPR because that was the mustache bet was on half point.
Yeah,
PPR.
you're right. So Sam LaPorta actually was number 1.
Yep.
Did not make either of our top 10 lists. I had Dallas Goedert at number 2. You had Darren Waller. Ryan, unfortunately, Darren Waller finished 21st. In total points.
That's
Dallas Goedert finished 15th. He broke the century club at least.
I mean, you have to at least acknowledge that Waller was leading tight ends in yards when he got injured. So,
okay.
I'm just saying the injury happened.
Right,
we have to acknowledge that as well. But things were going well.
Right, but my whole handicap was this guy never has stayed healthy.
Well, you can't project injury, Sean. You know that.
I had Chigoziem Okonkwo comically high at number 3. That did not come through. You had Mark Andrews, Ryan, who unfortunately was not a top 10 tight end. I caught a lot of grief for that. I proved to be correct. We both had TJ Hawkinson, number 4 overall in points. That's exactly where he came through. I had Taysom Hill, number 5, which is
not bad.
Which seems again took a ton of shit. Taysom Hill actually finished 10th in half point PPR, beating out notable tight ends like Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Logan Thomas, also Dallas Goedert.
Do you have any comment on the fact that he's listed as quarterback in a lot of formats?
Yeah,
I do. If you don't,
what do you mean?
Like he isn't a tight end in a lot of.
Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, make him a tight end. It makes it more interesting, right?
Yeah. Also, fuck off. We're always going to rank Taysom Hill as a tight end.
Yeah, come on.
Does he play tight end, Sean? Yes.
Yeah.
They're loopholing that stupid third quarterback gimmick. It's bullshit.
You had George Kittle going number 5. Kittle.
Exactly right.
Yeah, nailed it. So you had your 4th and 5th exactly right. We both had David Njoku number 6.
Oh, is that 3 in a row? Holy shit!
Hitting the little try box
tight end
here.
Specialist.
You had I had George Kittle number 7. You had Pat Freiermuth number 7. So I was off slightly. I actually, we'll save it, but I actually do think this is a good Freiermuth year.
Me too.
I had Tyler Higbee 9. That was a lot of like, hey, I think the Rams passing game is going to be good, which I was right on. Unfortunately, Higbee did not get dragged up with the rest of the passing offense. And actually Stafford, like, even though they were good at throwing the ball, he wasn't really that good in fantasy. I mean, you pointed it out when I was looking at the stats, like Kyron Williams just had a crazy year touchdown efficiency wise. So we'll see if that kind of comes back to earth. You had Dalton Schultz, Ryan, as your number 9 tight end. He came in at 11, so good on you. And then last but not least, my 10th.
I had Goddard at 8 too.
My 10th tight end was Luke Musgrave. Yours was Tyler Higbee, like we said.
The process with Higbee was good if he stays healthy. Who knows?
And same with Luke.
I'd do it all over again.
Luke Musgrave, without the injury, I think he's kind of interesting.
And Tucker Kraft, I mean,
Tucker Kraft did play well, but we'll see. Now Tucker Kraft is injured, which I think creates a massive opportunity for my man Luke Musgrave. Lube Gaming checking in.
So
Will, he's a Titans fan. Will Levis, LFG boys. Didn't we have a beef, Ryan, with Titans fans a few years back? Feel like we've come full circle.
Well, yeah, I picked them to go, I think 3-13 or 3-14. They got upset, and then they had a really good season, and that's when #Tighten Up.
And I remember I went all in on them. My back was against the wall gambling wise, and they took down the Ravens in the playoffs. So I think that was that season where Titans fans were coming at us.
And if you're keeping score at home, Titans are the number 1 most profitable team. You know what? That's we're going to put that out as a graphic during the summer. Top NFL slot machine teams for 2024.
Yeah. Why are you not doing
by profit in my pocket? I'll tell you this: the Titans are going to probably be number 1. I'll have to go through the receipts, but the Titans provided me with 2 hand pays. So
All right, Ryan. Time for the takes.
Ready?
Yes.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Maybe it's going to be hot, but I'm in on the Cardinals this year, and a lot of just my thought around drafting pass catchers in general is bringing back that 30% target share. Like, can you be a dominant force in this offense? And what we saw last year with Trey McBride down the stretch, if we look over the last 11 weeks of the season, Trey McBride only behind David Njoku and Evan Ingram in targets last year with 91. I don't see, obviously Marvin Harrison's coming in, and there's a lot of targets to be had by Marvin Harrison, but I don't see any reason why Trey McBride can't maintain his role as the number one threat in the offense. He did nothing like the first 6 weeks of the season, and he still finished as a top 10 tight end last year. Again, if you just carve out what he did in the second half of the season, he's on and the fact that he's a young guy, and again, not a ton to take away from him. You're swapping out Hollywood Brown, you're putting in Marvin Harrison. Sure, slight upgrade, but I think 30% target share is easily attainable here. I think top tier of tight ends makes a lot of sense. And if I'm debating, especially in an FFPC format where you have the 1.5 point per reception for tight ends, I am definitely taking Trey McBride over Marvin Harrison every time. So Trey McBride, number one tight end, 2024.
Yeah, he is not my number one tight end. I will reveal my number one tight end. Give me Sam LaPorta of the Detroit Lions, wow. Ryan.
Jesus, stepping out on that one.
No, I love what we saw out of last year. 86 catches, 10 touchdowns, 889 yards. I just don't think I see a lot changing for him, and I think that's awesome. I think Jared Goff really can trust him. You saw the difference he made in the playoffs for them. You saw him playing through injury. He's clearly a Dan Campbell guy, unlike Kyle Pitts, who had a really good. Kyle Pitts had 1,000 receiving yards. Every fantasy person likes to remind you that Kyle. No one since Ditka 60 had 1,000. Yeah, but he only had one touchdown. Jared Goff trusts Sam LaPorta in the red zone, and that's huge. He, Brock Wright, all these other guys they were using near the end zone completely cooked because of Sam LaPorta. I think it was a great rookie year, and I think he has a even higher ceiling coming up. So yeah, give me Sam LaPorta.
In that same stretch that I referenced for Trey McBride, Sam LaPorta averaged a target less per game, more than a target less per game. So watch out. Where did you have Trey McBride?
Do you want me to reveal that, Ryan?
Well, I mean, I guess we can.
No, yeah, I'll reveal it. I'll reveal it.
Okay. No, we can wait. We can wait.
I have Trey McBride as my fourth tight end this year.
Well, that's funny because I have Sam LaPorta as my fourth
wow.
tight
Okay,
end.
well there you go.
And my counter to your point of he did have a great year last year. And I think in some ways he took advantage, like his rapid insertion into the offense was partially because of what they were lacking. And now I think we expect to have a lot more on Jahmyr Gibbs' plate. I think Jameson Williams projects to have a heavier workload. And so for me, it's just purely that there are two other guys getting drafted in the first round of fantasy and a former first round pick who the coach has cited as a guy who's going to get more involved, maybe just coach speak, and Jameson Williams. So I think there's too much risk that he doesn't have quite the workload he had last year. Now, what I will say for the positive, it didn't take a ton of spike games for him to do this, partially because the tight end crop was just depressed overall last year.
Yeah.
But he only had one game over 20 points. So it wasn't like he was hitting some monster games to get here. So I do think it's hard to put him that low on the list because again, the volume is going to be there. I just worry there's a lot of guys around the red zone that are going to be interesting to me. And we didn't even bring up Montgomery, the other running back. So
David Montgomery was there last year. I mean, I
know. I'm just saying, like, I think Gibbs is a bigger piece of the offense this year.
Yeah, to me,
I think Jameson Williams.
To me, Trey McBride, that felt like his insane jump from year one to year two. To me, feels like it's going to cool off slightly. I do think Marvin Harrison is going to eat up a bunch of those targets. I mean, you look at how high he is in fantasy. There was no one like Trey McBride was the only viable pass catcher on that
Hollywood
team.
Brown was there last year.
That's true, but they didn't do a good job of getting Hollywood Brown involved.
Sure, and Marvin Harrison's a rookie. I just think if Marvin Harrison isn't the alpha in the offense and it's Trey McBride, that's 100% in the realm of outcomes. A lot of them.
Sure.
So.
I mean, again, I'm not totally out on Trey McBride. To me, LaPorta's just your A1.
I would go and I would actually step out to say, like, I do think the top 4 guys are in a tier. I think if you're going into your draft saying I want an elite tight end, to me it starts with Trey McBride. It ends with Sam LaPorta. Number 2.
Yes. We both have Travis Kelce, right?
Let's not be cute.
Yeah. I mean, I still think, I don't know. I guess I'm slightly concerned about.
This is a cop out ranking by me.
Why?
Because I kind of would have I kind of wanted to put him 4th. Yeah. But when I think about how, actually, you know what? Live update: Travis Kelce now number 4 on my list.
So now what are you doing, Ryan? Where are you moving LaPorta? Are you moving him just to 3?
Yeah. LaPorta drops to 3, and number 2, Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
It's the
Dalton Kincaid. I mean, I tried to poke some holes in him, like with the research, but
Well, I would say it's the same. It's the exact same case that McBride is. I think there's a greater case that he's the leading target getter in the offense. And again, with the changes we might see with how this offense is going to be more 2 tight end. I mean, Dalton Kincaid could be all over the place. And we already saw the way he was kind of being deployed as an athlete. This feels like a much hotter take than the Trey McBride based on how they finished last year. But there's a lot of versions of the season where Keon Coleman doesn't pan out to be much of an alpha on the outside, and all they have is Dalton Kincaid on the inside. So if that's the case, and he's getting like the clear line share of the targets, then I think the ceiling's very high from him because the touchdowns will be there then. In that
I mean, to me, there's something that my 1, 2, and 3 tight end all have in common. Sam LaPorta, Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid, is that I think the quarterback really trusts them. And you saw that in the playoffs. You saw that with Jared Goff and Sam LaPorta in the playoffs. Obviously you saw it with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and you saw it with Dalton Kincaid. I mean, Kincaid was kind of struggling a little bit early on in his rookie season, or not struggling, but Dawson Knox was there and they were competing. But then, he finished super strong. He was a big part of them targeting the playoffs. I think he was a big reason why they felt they could get rid of Stephon Diggs is what they had in Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah. To me, if the top tier is Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Sam LaPorta, and Travis Kelce, the only thing that stands out to me is that Sam LaPorta has the toughest path to number 1 target on his team, but I think his offense could score the most touchdowns, and he could be the number 1 target around the red zone. Like, he has an interesting dynamic where Amon-Ra isn't exactly that big time red zone target, and so that's the other thing that these guys all possess to me is they're the number 1 red zone target for their team, and so. You can probably move them around the board. I'm going to end up with all 4 of them. I'm not fading any of these guys for sure. And Kelce is fun this year because you can get him late enough where you already have a player or 2, and then you get Kelce in a stack with Mahomes. So anyway, those are my 4: McBride, Kincaid, LaPorta, Kelce. Sean has the same thing in a slightly different way.
I am. I'm with you on these. I mean, it's hard to get too cute, but yeah, I got it. LaPorta, Kelce, Kincaid, then Trey McBride. I mean, also too, like just doing this exercise, it does make me realize, like, hey, I think you're fine just playing whatever tight end you like in that, like in a managed league, you could just be picking up and dropping tight ends. I think throughout, if you don't have one of these like top guys, this
is where I draw the line. If you're not getting one of these 4, then I like get whoever you want. That's. I guess some people will probably disagree with a couple of the guys in this next tier, but my take would be if you're not taking a top 4 guy, take the last guy. 5.
My number 5 tight end for your Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Goedert.
Okay.
Goedert, big part of the passing offense. Kellen Moore's offensives have been pretty good to the tight end. Traditionally, especially last year with the Chargers, not an amazing year, but they also didn't have like a great tight end last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say last year maybe an outlier, but I just my worry with Goddard, and we're seeing this with his ADP, is just that there's a lot of mouths to feed. You got Barkley, you got AJ Brown, you got Devonta Smith. That's a first round pick, a second, 2 first round and a second, or 1 first round and 2 second round picks right there. So a lot of equity being absorbed by a lot of players that aren't Dallas Goedert. So that's the reason he missed my top 10 list.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy they paid.
I understand.
They believe in him. He doesn't really have any other. You don't have to worry about a second tight end. I don't think there in Philly. And again, I like the Kellen Moore offense. It's going to create some easy stuff for the receivers, which I do think will in turn help Dallas Goedert. So yeah, lock it up. Dallas Goedert number 5. What about your 5th tight end, Ryan?
All right, 5th. The one thing that stood out to me when going back to last year and kind of thinking about this year, I'm really starting to think that the Jags are going to be a team that is able to move the ball. I don't know if they're going to be a good team, but their offense is going to move the ball. And man, Evan Ingram, I know we keep talking about Christian Kirk being the obvious piece that's going to get all these targets. I think it's more obviously Evan Ingram. I think it's amazing when you look back at how many targets he received last year. Like I said, I mentioned him earlier in that list over the course of the end of the season, but also when you look in the totality of the season, he had 143 targets. Now, granted, he played every game, but he still averaged 8.5. He was still averaging at the same pace as TJ Hawkinson. And so I don't see who they brought in to take away. They brought in 2 deep threats. They brought in 2 guys that aren't exactly going to take away from what he eats from, and Christian Kirk's still there. So the idea that the target relationship remains pretty much the same. How do you not have Evan Ingram as kind of the next guy?
Well, yeah, and I spoiler alert, I have Evan Ingram as my 6th tight end. To your point,
he's not sexy though because it's all short shit.
Well,
it's not a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, it's you like him more in full point PPR.
Well, FFPC especially for my tight end premium.
Tight end premium leagues, 1.5 point PPR.
Which they're the best.
And I do think it's going to regress a little bit, but then also losing Ridley has to factor in somewhat, right?
Well, they replaced Ridley with 2 other guys that run deep, and so it doesn't seem like anything is there to take away from what. If anything, I think they could be chasing a little bit more. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the kind of team they turn into, but it does seem like Evan Ingram has turned into this safety blanket for. You talked about trust from the quarterback. Trevor trusts Evan.
Yeah, like
that's a Lifetime documentary.
Now, I
Trevor
mean,
and
if
Evan.
you had to say like who is Trevor Lawrence's safety blanket, they never really got the chemistry going with Calvin Ridley. I do think he has a decent connection with Christian Kirk. The rookie is still a rookie. Like there's a huge unknown. I feel like they don't throw to the running backs a bunch. It's kind of Evan Ingram by default, right?
It's Kirk and Ingram.
Yeah.
So I think I don't have like Evan Ingram could very easily lead the team in targets, and that wouldn't be an outlier to me. So yeah, I think you would kind of have to put him here, and I'm I am drafting him, and I'm drafting him without Trevor Lawrence. Maybe that's the wrong thing to do, but
Ryan, we're talking NFL season long, and of course you can get down on some NFL season long over at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. We got Best Ball Mania going, 15 million in prizes, which is insane. Use the promo code SGPN. You can deposit match up to $250 in bonus cash, and perfect way to get down on some of your favorite season long fantasy projections, aka higher and lower. They don't have a ton. I'm going to try and. It looks like they don't have a ton of the tight end market out yet, but they do have Travis Kelce. Ryan, Travis Kelce, 8.5 receiving touchdowns, 950.5 receiving yards. Do you have a play for either one of those markets?
Doesn't seem like they're going to care about the regular season.
No,
it's low though. It's under 1,000.
I like the touchdowns. If you're going higher, I like touchdowns. 8.5. Yeah, I would rather go touchdowns because I do think. Maybe he doesn't get quite the volume in the middle of the field, but I think
if he's healthy, he's getting 10 touchdowns.
Yeah. So higher higher 8.5 receiving touchdowns for Travis Kelce, coming off a season where he only had 5, kind of a career low. I do think he bounces back. So higher Travis Kelce, 8.5 receiving touchdowns. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN.
Yeah, to finish the point, the Jags lost 200 targets with Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley. Evan Ingram had all the tight end targets except for 25 on the season. So maybe we don't have him ranked high enough, Sean.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mercedes Lewis is back, but I think where is he? He's in Chicago.
All right. Yeah, did you find a way to get Lewis on your list?
No, but again, like I said, thanks to everyone who reached out and assumed that 40-year-old tight end giving it another shot was me. No, it was Mercedes Lewis, right? So who is your my number 6 is Evan Ingram. Who is your number 6?
Well, so the biggest shocker to me in looking around at the target stuff, and I know that Joe Flacco was involved in this, but I don't know how you can look at what David Njoku did down the stretch and not want to take him. The whole point of taking a tight end in the draft is you think he's going to be better than a replacement guy. And when you look at what he did last 11 weeks of the season, Sean, 101 targets, that led the NFL. So we know he's also got the upside. He's got the verticality to his game. He's going to be used in the red zone. I know they brought in Jerry Jeudy. Don't give a shit about Jerry Jeudy impacting David Njoku's work. This comes down to the quarterback. And I'll tell you what, Sean, if Jameis Winston is the quarterback for this team, David Njoku has a chance to be the number 1 tight end in football, because that's what he basically was operating as with Joe Flacco.
This was the hardest one to he was the hardest tight end for me to rank.
Did you leave him off?
I did. I was going back and forth. I had him as high as number 4, and then I ended up when I'm like, modeling as I do, sniffing the airplane glue. That's how I model, right?
Okay.
And I couldn't put it David Njoku. I could not project David Njoku to be a top 10 fantasy tight end because so much of it was tied to Joe Flacco. It's 6, he had 6 touchdowns. Almost all of those came from Joe Flacco. If you told me Deshaun Watson wasn't the quarterback, then I would sign up for a David Njoku season. I mean, you said it comes all down to the quarterback. Yeah, I love Jameis. Would love to see him be the quarterback of the Browns. It's not happening.
But we don't exactly know, because the beginning of the season wasn't Deshaun Watson either.
Yes.
So, because he also started slow when it was Brissett, who was the starter in the start of the season? Brissett
for the Browns.
Yeah. Brissett.
Yeah. But you're making a good point. Basically anyone but Joe Flacco throwing him.
No, he improved when Deshaun Watson came and started playing. So I do think he was not very good those first 7 weeks, and he crushed at the end of the season.
Yeah. To me, it's just too crazy.
But I'm saying the improvement happened when it changed from Brissett.
How many passing touchdowns did Deshaun Watson throw to David Njoku?
He didn't play a ton of games, so it's a small sample size, but
okay.
No, I see what you're saying, but
I think it's a tough handicap. I do,
and I'm drafting him, which then makes me look at Deshaun Watson later in drafts.
No, I like David Njoku. I like his skill set. I'm just skeptical of the Deshaun Watson connection.
All right, next.
You didn't like me not being high on David Njoku? Right?
I was shocked to see the usage in the offense, and the same coach is there, the same everything is there. Except for Joe Flacco, he's going to be involved.
My number 7 tight end, give me Patrick Freiermuth out of Penn State. The more I think about it, and this didn't make it into our quarterback list, but the more I think about it, the more I do kind of think Justin Fields is going to end up starting sooner rather than later for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. And Justin Fields loves a guy like Cole Kmet. I will also say this, as much as let's not
you mean Pat Freiermuth?
Yeah. What did I say?
Cole Kmet.
Oh, Cole Kmet. Well, Justin Fields liked Cole Kmet when he was playing in Chicago. And I think he's also going to like throwing to Patrick Freiermuth. I think, and let's look at the Arthur Smith offense. A lot of people would say, "Oh, he doesn't like throwing to tight ends because Kyle Pitts." No, he doesn't like throwing to. He doesn't like giving targets to guys who fucking suck, like Kyle Pitts, a guy who can't cut, a guy who can't run, a guy who thinks he made the Hall of Fame in his rookie year because he had 1,000 receiving yards. Oh yeah, go wear your silver medal next to Mike Ditka.
Sean, do you remember when he was coming out? I was like, I don't quite
not a gold jacket guy.
I don't quite understand why everyone's getting so excited.
I'll say this too. I like if you look, if you take Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts and put them together, as far as targets and what the offense did, that's Patrick Freiermuth right there. I think that's going to end up being a good number for him. Darnell Washington is clearly just like a blocking guy. Hopefully. And I think Pat Freiermuth, he's had a 7 touchdown season. I think that could be in the works for the Steelers team.
No, I like the play. He's certainly, if I'm waiting to the last tight end to take him and maybe it ends up being Freiermuth, that's fine. It's fine for me. 7, Mark Andrews. Again, just the usage
didn't make my list.
That's fine. The usage, and again, this is one of those interesting kind of loopholes in the rankings where I would say, well, it's all about the usage when he is healthy. When he's not healthy, you're going to pick up someone else anyway. And he was very good when he was in there, and so I think he's. I
mean, again, I'm an Isaiah Likely guy. You look at
I like him too,
and he legitimately built up a narrative of. Him and Lamar's my big brother. I mean, look at these fantasy football playoff games that Isaiah Likely, the stats 16.8, 15.5, 7.1, 17.2. He did show up big late. I just worry that, Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, neither made it into my top 10. Cause I think they eat from each other. I think they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel cause they've got to get Isaiah Likely out on the field. He has a connection with Lamar. That's kind of why
weird, but they don't, and they didn't last year either. He got very few targets when Andrews was healthy.
Yeah,
and that's just the reality. Hopefully, but unfortunately they didn't do it last year. I've been unlikely for many. And this is probably year 3, and it does seem like they don't want to run them both at the same time. It's annoying. 8 for you.
Number 8. I'm gonna keep putting this guy in. Give me Chigoziem Okonkwo. I mean. What do I have to say about Chigoziem Okonkwo, Ryan?
This is a play on the Titans. I like it. I also like Chig. There's a lot of middle class tight ends I like this year.
Yeah, and I know I was probably a year early in 2022 and a year early last year, and maybe I'm a year early, but I don't think so because the jump from 2022 32 all the way up to 54. His touchdowns actually went down from 3 to 1. I think he's going to be involved more, and they're going to be passing so much more. I think people don't realize that. 1, I think they're going to be playing from behind. 2, I think it's just going to be a more pass heavy offense. They even get him involved in the rushing game a little bit. So yeah, I love Chig, especially if you give that Tennessee offense 2 legit outside receivers. I think the middle of the field is going to be great for Chig this year, and I think the Titans are going to put up a ton of passing stats. So yeah, give me Chig. Yeah,
he runs the vertical stuff, so you get the big plays. That's what you're banking on with Will Levis this year. It's just nothing but ceiling. Hopefully, it all works. Just nothing but he's a kid. The Titans need to be running an offense like a kid playing Madden. Just 4 verts every time. Number 8 for me, George Kittle. I do appreciate your commitment to the George Kittle hate. This offense it prevents you from having a tight end that doesn't get involved. And he has enough spike games for it to be worth it. Now, maybe it gets tricky to when you start him or not, but I definitely think that if George Kittle's falling in the draft, I'll find my way to buying that because the offense is going to put him in position to score.
Ryan, I haven't put out my list of guys who are going to get injured yet, but it is. I'm not.
You're predicting George Kittle or Brock Purdy?
No, I'm predicting George Kittle will get injured this year. I'm sorry to announce that here in the airwaves, and it's actually not going to happen on field. I don't know if you see, but George Kittle's been involved in professional wrestling, even to the point where John Lynch had to send him a terse text message saying, "Never do that again." No one puts George Kittle in a cage except maybe Mankind. I don't know any current wrestlers, but I think he's going to get injured professional wrestling.
What did he do to get in trouble?
He was doing some crazy shit at WrestleMania.
He was working, or was he healing?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about professional.
Yeah, no, I like the hate. I think if you're not right with your prediction, very difficult for me to see him not. He's not going to get drafted in the top 10 tight ends. So if you feel like Sean, you're just not going to draft George Kittle. That's fine. Move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, hard to see him falling out of the top 10 if he is healthy and doesn't get into that weird wrestling accident.
For me, number 9, Oregon State Beaver, Luke Musgrave. I was worried a little bit about the competition from Tucker Kraft, who looked good when he was out there, but Tucker Kraft got injured, Ryan. We haven't been talking about the Tucker Kraft pectoral injury.
Oh yeah.
This is creating a
Kraft
good
gate.
opportunity for Luke Musgrave. And clearly the tight end is a big part of the Packers offense. And I think what's interesting about the Packers offense is it's a little tough to figure out, hey, how much are they going to run the ball? What are they going to do with the outside receivers? Which receiver is the guy?
They do have a lot of receivers.
I think Luke Musgrave has a real role on that offense. So number 9, fantasy football tight end, Luke Musgrave.
You know, we want to remember him fondly, but he didn't really he had a couple nice games. Only 3 games where he even got more than or 6 or more targets.
Brad Ward checking in saying Sean has no Kittle, no Mark Andrews, no Njoku, but Chig and Musgrave are in. Madness. Well, Brad, I didn't have Mark Andrews in the top 10 last year, and he wasn't a top 10 fantasy football tight end.
There we go. Fucking tout king. Number 8. No, number 9.
I mean, put your oven mitts on. If you're afraid to get burned, turn the podcast.
I'll
dial
never
off.
forget the first fantasy expo we went to, and we were in that hotel, like basement or whatever.
Yeah.
And those guys just looked at us as if we were the most disappointing individuals on the planet because we ranked Zeke as our we said Zeke was our 52nd running back, and they told us we weren't taking the situation seriously. That go fuck off. I'm not drafting Zeke. Sorry.
No Zeke for me.
All right. Number 9, Taysom Hill. Is this a serious situation? A, yes, there are still plenty of places where he is a tight end.
Okay.
B, if you run your own league, make him a tight end. C, Juwan Johnson got hurt.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
boy.
I mean,
you don't think he's going to be out there running routes?
We thought Taysom Hill was
Jameis is gone.
We thought Taysom Hill was a Sean Payton thing, but as we saw last year, it wasn't, and they were having him run. I mean, look at
Spencer Rattler. Can you line up at tight end? No.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, Wildcat stuff. They use him as a goal line back. Alvin Kamara is holding out. I mean, he had 4 rushing touchdowns last year, and he had 2 receiving touchdowns. Ryan, Taysom Hill had the same amount of touchdowns last year that Kyle Pitts has had in his entire fucking career. Put that in your fantasy pipe and smoke it.
But does Taysom Hill have one time? Did he have 1,000 yards? And does he look really good running in a straight line?
Yeah, he can turn, and he can run the Wildcat, and he can throw the deep ball.
I'll never forget watching highlights of him at Florida. Like untouched, he's just running across the field, and people are like, "Oh my god, look at this guy! Look at this fucking guy! He's gonna change the game. He's gonna change the game." Update: he hasn't changed the game. Yeah, Taysom Hill.
Colby is a big Taysom Hill.
Love Taysom. Yeah,
and he threw 1 passing touchdown. So 6 rushing and receiving touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown.
He's gonna imagine the difference between Taysom Hill and Spencer Rattler in the locker room.
Yeah,
my God, he doesn't have a chance. All right, so he
was my number 10 tight end.
10.
Yep.
Well, he's gonna be the steal of this year's draft. Out of Penn State, where he had a shitty quarterback thrown to him, so wasn't able to showcase the receiving ability. Pretty good blocker, gonna get him on the field early, and Daniel Bellinger already dealing with an injury. Theo Johnson, baby, we are. Love this play. He's definitely gonna pop up. This is this year's George Kittle.
How many Theo Johnson? What's your Theo Johnson ownership percentage?
It's probably equal to my Dan Jones, because what I do is it's like the last couple rounds I go Dan Jones.
I can't remember
Jalen Hyatt, Theo Johnson.
You've been drafting the running back. I feel like more than Dan Jones
Tyrone
or
Tracy.
Theo Johnson. Yeah.
All right, I'll make sure I'll remind you in the next one.
Right. So to be clear, Ryan is the crazy homer, and
what do you mean? You have Dallas Goedert number 5.
Yeah, that's
That's way
legit.
crazier than Theo Johnson, number 10.
All right, we're gonna work on another mustache bet. Hey, have you guys signed up with Rhythm yet? Of course, Rhythm is your place to get down on player props, fantasy projections. They got you covered. Never too early to start building those NFL models. Of course, if you're looking to get in on some action right now, WNBA, golf, it is really cool. You can either just fire up their model and they give you projections. Perfect for Underdog Fantasy. I cashed a 3xer, 3 picks on Game 5 of the NBA Finals. All I did was just look at Rhythm's NBA model, took the top 3 picks, kicked it over to Underdog Fantasy, and got a sweet cash. But again, it's cool because you can customize it for the stats that matter to you. And again, WNBA, golf, great time to get in. Get ready for NFL. Start playing around with the NFL modeling. Fun project for the summer. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM to claim your 7-day free trial today.
All right. So that was the top 10.
Top 10.
There's 12 teams in your draft though, unless you're a weirdo who does 10 team. You know, are you still in any 10 team drafts or a league, Sean?
No.
How many fantasy football leagues will Sean Green be in this year? Managed fantasy football leagues.
I mean, 2 is the ceiling.
2 is the ceiling.
My cousin really is just
pushing
like,
the family league.
Yeah, and I'm like,
dude,
dude,
why don't you make this the year you have Cody manage the team for you?
Yeah, no. Shout out to Cody Zeeb, who we discussed maybe him managing my family league last year.
I like the idea of getting a quick update from Cody on one of the
Cody,
shows.
how's my fantasy league doing with my family?
Maybe Monday night we do.
It's a real power
part of the
trip.
Monday night episode. We have a Cody update Sean on his fantasy football.
Yeah, I like that. Cody, check in. You're going to be drafting for and. Yeah, draft for me. Draft. All you have to do is draft one Eagle comically higher than ADP,
and
no one will. Yeah, actually, drafting's fun. That's why I like best ball.
You're gonna give.
I like
the
drafting.
worst team.
I hate dealing with the waiver wire.
By the
waiver
way,
wire is like homework.
Have we been reinvited to the Pros versus Joes competition yet, Sean?
We won last year.
I know. I assume they'll invite us back. I believe the invitations have gone out. These
Easy saying he's in a 10-team league, but only because it's a $25,000 entry fee. We can't find more people. Wow, that is
crypto.
Oh my God,
Sean,
that's gangsta.
Sean, you want to make that 3 leagues?
I mean, I don't know. I 10 team $25,000 league. If I had 25K that I was going to play in a fantasy league,
entry 25K entry fee.
Oh, maybe
so $250,000 in the pot.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
You want to get?
I don't know. Easy. I'm reading. It says 25K entry fee. Right?
I didn't realize Easy was such a big dog.
So that's $250,000.
I mean, that's
pretty sweet.
That's really putting your dick out on the table in the chat.
Thank you for.
I play. Hey,
long cock.
Could you, honey? Could you go get the $5,000 bands? I have to pay my fantasy football entry fee.
Maybe Easy isn't married. That's
honey. Can you get the money counter?
25K is tough to move out of the slush.
I will say, make sure. Real pro tip is if you're gonna have a money counter.
Yeah.
Get the wife in on it. They like
oh
counting money too. They like counting money.
Okay, he's clarifying it's 200,000 for first and 50 for second. So not quite. Oh wait, no, that's
$250,000.
That's I mean, I got to know your team, Easy, because I feel like I'm going to be rooting for you.
Well, now I feel like that's Easy's going to give us an update on
Easy
the pregame
is shaming
show.
us, Ryan.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, he's putting in. I mean, the FFPC. What are those drafts like? 2K, 2,500.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk to FFPC. Be like, hey, Easy over here is running leagues for 25K.
They do have a crazy ass format where you can write a check and buy draft picks, and there's no limit.
Oh, really?
And that goes in the pot.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's some, and it's pretty wild ass shit. And then there's some cheap guys who try to save money, like not after another, just try to like spend $50 and win this massive pot. All right, 11, Sean.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz, which I don't think you mentioned.
No,
he fits kind of the George Kittle similar role. Even Mark Andrews a little bit. The offense just requires him to be involved. And I think even with all these receivers running around, I think Dalton Schultz is going to have a steady role. And so if I'm waiting to the end of the draft to take one, Dalton Schultz is one of my more favorite ones. I also, if I was going to draft CJ Stroud,
yeah,
I think I might. I was thinking about this a little bit because how are most people drafting CJ Stroud in best ball right now? They're trailing. They're taking a receiver.
Yep,
and they're trailing.
Nico Collins.
I think I would almost not take one of the receivers. Maybe it's a draft where CJ Stroud slips a little bit. You take him and then you stack him with running back, tight end. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in best ball where
Joe Mixon's cheap, Dalton Schultz is cheap,
where it pays to be contrarian. The more like I wasn't in love with Joe Mixon early on in best ball, but now that I'm hearing how hard people are for CJ Stroud and that passing game, a fun way to counter it is with Joe Mixon. And we see it all the time. I mean, look at Kyron Williams, great example of a guy that, hey, their offense was good. They were throwing a decent amount of time, but the touchdown luck broke their way.
It's a very similar. The only difference is the age thing, but yeah, it's a very similar scenario because the offense is set up for the running back to have the most success, especially in the. I mean,
Jamal Williams, where he randomly had, what did he have, like 19, 20 touchdowns that 1 year?
He went from like just absolute legendary touchdown dancer to now he's just the guy who's at a Pokemon conference.
Yeah. I mean,
which is super funny.
Well, and they got
he must crush a lot. He must do well at those Pokemon.
And they went out of their way to get him that one touchdown.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Jameis did.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, team leader Jameis Winston.
Oh, that was great.
made a decision.
But listen to Jamal Williams' number of touchdowns he scored each season. 4. These are rushing touchdowns. He had a handful of passing, but
Packers were holding him down.
4, 3, 1, 2. Now in 2019 where he had 1 rushing, he did have 5 receiving, but 2, 3, 17 in 2022. So could Joe Mixon have a Jamal Williams type season? I think that's kind of an interesting angle. And when we get the market of most rushing touchdowns, I think Joe Mixon's going to be an interesting play because we're projecting this offense to do really well. Is it a shocker that he maybe gets all the goal line stuff and that inside the 5? I wonder what his price will be.
Joe, there's also a world where I know he's kind of washed, but in this offense, if he's able to do it, the only thing that scares me a little bit is that 2 guys. You know, what if Dameon Pierce does get back into the system and he does get worked in around the red zone and it throws off everything. But yeah, I think in general the idea of fading the receivers, because one if not 2 of the receivers are going to end up. We're going to look back and say they were getting overdrafted, and so the best way to fade that is take the running back or take the tight end. So long way to get there, but Dalton Schultz is one of my favorite. Like take last tight end drafted kind of situation. John, 11
Cole Kmet coming off a 6 touchdown season, 73 catches. Some of that I think is kind of Fields, but Caleb Williams, I think he should still be somewhat productive. Maybe he gets 4 receiving touchdowns. I think Cole Kmet's a good. I mean, it's a little tough to project because things are going to obviously change a bunch with Caleb Williams, but I mean, he could certainly improve. So I don't know. He's a guy I want to have some shares of, and I think obviously any of the best ball teams, I take Caleb Williams. It's pretty easy to get Cole Kmet, and Cole Kmet has a nice ceiling, I think, and like a decent floor. I think like 3 receiving touchdowns, probably his floor. I think he's good in the red zone.
So in this range, I end up not taking him a ton. Because I've probably spent on the Caleb Williams receiver stack, but also if you look at the Shane Waldron offenses of the past, they don't exactly go to the tight end a ton.
Yeah.
So they like the 3 receivers. They don't love the tight end. Noah Fant wasn't exactly crushing it last year. I do think Cole Kmet's a slightly better player. And to your, you made the comment earlier with Njoku and Flacco, the Cole Kmet and Justin Fields bit does scare me a little bit, but he's right there in the middle.
Yeah. And easy point out in the chat, it is that classic staple of, hey, safety net for rookie quarterback, throw it to the tight end.
You know what though? That's Keenan Allen to me.
Yeah,
that's exactly what. That's why you bring Keenan Allen in, because he gets open.
He's a catch machine.
Yeah.
So again, I think he has a decent ceiling. He's right there. Cole Kmet, number 11. Who's your number 12, Ryan?
It's Dallas Goedert. You mentioned, you talked about him earlier.
Wow.
It's a mouths to feed situation, I think. Unfortunately. Now, do I end up taking Dallas Goedert? Yeah, I think in the same way that, I don't know what the most popular stack of Jalen Hurts is going to be. I assume it's going to be AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Maybe Devonta Smith, but Barkley, Hurts, Goddard, again, interesting way to kind of position yourself differently. I think in general, you have to correlate a guy like Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert, so you almost lock yourself into draft, or maybe overdrafting even. But also tight end, there's a little bit of data that suggests you're correlated similarly to the running back, where you're buying good offenses. And so Eagles should be in the red zone a decent amount. You think Dallas Goedert's going to be on the field for those plays. He should have good looks.
Let's go.
But the offense is a question. He hasn't used the tight end a ton.
Kellen Moore?
Yeah.
No, he's had some really good
Sure, he has, but I do think with what he has on this Eagles team, I don't know if it's reasonable to predict, and probably the favorite, that Goddard's target number 4 on his team, and not many of the guys that we're talking about. In my
who are you saying? Obviously, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. Who's the number 3 above
Barkley?
You think they're going to throw that much to him?
I'm talking touches,
not touches, but
touchdowns. But I think when it comes down to it, the ball goes into the hands of the playmakers this many times. If we add touches and targets, and I think Goddard's going to be a clear number 4 on his team. It's going to be, if he gets the touchdowns, he has a chance to set in the top 10.
If you're looking at the 2022 Dallas Cowboys, last time he had like a really good tight end.
Dak loves the tight end.
CeeDee Lamb led the team in catches and targets. Dalton Schultz was number 2. You have to go down to Tony Pollard, number 5 in receptions with 39.
You're not listening to me.
I'm listening.
I'm simply saying the touches. Barkley is going to get the ball a ton more than Dallas Goedert.
Okay.
You disagree?
No, I think Barkley's definitely going to be involved.
I'm not just talking about the passing game. Jalen Hurts doesn't throw to his running backs. I'm talking about just the distribution of the ball. And in the red zone, what option is he? 4, 3?
I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is
1,
Hurts 1,
Barkley 2, AJ Brown 3, AJ Brown 2, Barkley 3. I'm just saying.
It'll be interesting to see.
I'm just saying it's pretty easy to get to 4 or 5.
The fantasy domino of Saquon Barkley near the goal line, I think, is going to be really interesting, because
I don't the field. Why else get it? I mean, he squats all those pounds.
Someone's got to push Jalen Hurts in the end zone. May as well be Saquon Barkley. Let's go.
I'm just saying Goddard's not going to be the first, second, third option.
All right. My last tight end, number 12, Cade Otton.
Ooh.
Right. In the same way that Sam LaPorta, Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid had a nice run in the postseason, so did our boy Cade Otton. I mean, unfortunately, 8 for 89 against my Eagles, 5 for 65 and a touchdown against the Lions. I think he closed out strong with Baker. I think they have some chemistry. He had a 2 touchdown game, so he has that ceiling potential. And I think you bring in a passing, an offensive coordinator that's going to look to throw the ball more. Maybe Godwin stays healthy and that ends up hurting him a little bit, but I still think, him getting 4 receiving touchdowns, 65 catches, that's right in there. Tight end 1 at the end.
It does seem like something different than last year needs to happen, but I do think the offense will look a little different. So
yeah, I mean, he certainly had some games where he wasn't as active, but this is a bit of a projection. Like, I love the way he closed out strong. I think Baker really liked throwing to him in the second half of the season and in the playoffs.
Well, I agree with that.
So I think he had a little bit of momentum going into.
They brought in some more weapons too, though, and it's all right. So people will obviously be upset that we've left off Ferguson, maybe Hawkinson, maybe
Yeah, Hawkinson to me.
Kyle Pitts, maybe.
Kyle Pitts, 61.6 catch percentage, like 35th in the league. Go fuck off if you think Kyle Pitts is having a good year.
Well, but a lot of people think he's like if
They have him as like third or fourth.
All right, I'm pulling up the ADP.
But what I don't understand is Ryan
ADP. Sam LaPorta 1, Kelce 2, McBride 3. This is an underdog. Andrews 4, Kincaid 5. Okay, so we don't really categorically disagree with any of this. You're not drafting Andrews.
No.
Kyle Pitts 6.
That to me is insane.
And,
how is Drake London a first round pick, Bijan Robinson a first round pick, and Kyle Pitts all first round picks?
So then George Kittle, which you don't like George Kittle, but
I like him way better than
you're
Kyle
taking
Pitts.
him over. Then Evan Ingram, which Evan Ingram is one of a nice value to me there. Then Ferguson, then Brock Bowers, which is fucking insane to me. But Kyle Pitts, then Njoku, then Goddard, then Schultz, then Freiermuth, then Hawkinson, then Kmet, Musgrave. I like that tier right there. Like middle.
Njoku, I think is super interesting in best ball because the ceiling is there.
Yeah,
He was so tough for me to put in this rankings because he looks so good with Joe Flacco, and I don't understand. Like Brad, I would love to hear your theory on why Deshaun Watson doesn't like throwing to
tight end
David Njoku. Like, why did they not have any sort of connection?
He doesn't like to use his hands. He's not good throwing.
He lets other people use his hands.
So
I'm not touching Deshaun Watson.
Is there anyone else that no one else people are getting upset about, right?
I mean, yeah, my Mark Andrews stuff. I'm sure.
You want to throw out any? I'm sure we'll do a sleeper episode at some point. But any fun late tight ends? We're first touchdown guys. Who, I mean, I would throw out Gesicki and Jonnu Smith.
Oh yeah,
2 guys that Jelani Woods. There's a whole like 3-man weave going on there in Indy, but I have a suspicion Jelani Woods is going to be fun.
Yeah, I want a little clarity on the Colts tight end situation. I would also say if we can figure out who is going to be the starting tight end for the Broncos.
I'll tell you what I love.
That's kind of interesting.
Hayden Hurst, Chargers.
Yeah,
fucking Harbaugh starting tight end.
No,
that to me is gonna be valuable.
Yeah, I asked Decker. I'm like, who should I pair with? Herbert. He's like Hayden Hurst
every time.
Yeah, I mean Hayden Hurst is super interesting. Veteran guy. You could see Harbaugh loving him. Yeah, Hayden Hurst first touchdown. Although they do have Parham, who again I could see Harbaugh being intrigued by.
Hayden Hurst a good tight end.
Yeah.
I think that's a sneaky signing right there. It's just like the Ertz thing in Washington. I don't think.
And Ertz too.
Ertz might not finish the season, but he might start by getting shitload of targets.
Thinking about putting Ertz in there, but I really think he's just going to have like a 4 to 6 week window where he's going to be awesome. So maybe it's DFS Ertz, but there's going to be some time where Zach Ertz is winning someone a bunch of money.
Well, they got that rookie from Kansas State. Snot. And I would imagine either Ertz goes down or he gets overtaken by the more athletic.
But I mean, he had a ton of targets in that Kingsbury offense. Well,
I don't know if you heard the clip, but it was from I think their mini camps. He's talking about the situation. Like, hey, we brought him here because he knows what to do. He knows how to get open. He's like,
and you have a rookie quarterback. You can't. He's starting a rookie quarterback and rookie tight end.
He said it out loud.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the Jaden Daniels Zach Ertz stack is. I'm definitely going to be playing that in DFS week 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Calling your shot already.
Oh, I mean that's. Why not? I mean it's going to be a fun.
I like that. I like that almost as much as Dan Jones, Malik Neighbors, and Theo Johnson.
Low ownership percentage, right? Hey, thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, make sure you smash. And thank you everyone for tuning in for all 2,000 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
I know no one's ever missed one. Again, 2,000 of some sort of cryptocurrency, 2,000 tokens. We'll say it.
Yeah.
Approximate retail value around $200, depending on the market. Hook you up with some crypto. Email us in. I love reading those stories. Podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com. How'd you find the show? What's a favorite moment of the show? Appreciate everyone tuning in.
Picture physical evidence or pictures accepted.
Yeah. Send in.
That might be dangerous.
Yeah. Send in whatever you got. And yeah,
we have a satchel show up to the door.
We got a fun episode tomorrow, Ryan.
Oh yeah.
PLL is on bye, but we have a couple fun gimmicks there. You're gonna want to check out and some Euros best bets.
No, we're gonna do Copa America.
What?
USA is playing soccer. Turns out.
Okay.
Turns out the South America and North America consulates got together and figured out how to break down borders, unlike those filthy Europeans.
All right, so we'll get a couple bonus soccer picks.
USA.
Hang out with CJ. It'll be a grand old time.
Oh, CJ is gonna have soccer picks. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, Canada, we love our beaver.
CJ
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
CJ and Billy meeting for the first time.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Love a good tight end.
Kramer, let it ride.